So welcome back, everyone. Now, this is going to be a little different from the rest of the show that was on today, but very interesting. I'm very excited about bringing on my guest. It's Loren, and I want to make sure I say your last name right. It's Kutsko? How do you say it?
It's Kutsko. Loren
Kutsko. I did say it right. So there you go. Loren Kutsko, and you are with the Entrepreneur Source, but the name of your business, kind of tell everybody a little bit about what you do, because when I first heard it, I wasn't quite sure. Go ahead.
For sure. Thanks, Carol. I really appreciate you having me here. So what I do is help people explore the possibility of owning their own business.
Love that.
So a lot of people driving home today probably are finding that they're not that excited to get up and go to work tomorrow. It's Tuesday afternoon, and we just know from Gallup statistics that over 2/3 of people that's true of. They wake up every day, they don't really want to go to work. And so what I do is help them look into that and figure out why. I listen to them talk about what their goals are and what their career background is, what they're good at. And basically, if people are not happy in their job, is for one of three reasons. Either they've got a bad boss, they're in the wrong job, or maybe they should be the boss. And so we look into that and see if that's something that can work out for them. And if so, then I actually coach them through the process of exploring different business models that they can actually become the owner of.
Well, how many people would like to be their own boss? A lot. I mean, yes, there's the corporate world out there. We know that. But there's also the world and the people that might be listening too of somebody who may or be in that position where either they're not happy, they might be semi-retired now. They don't necessarily want to stop working, but want to do something different. That would be someone. Who's your client?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, most of my clients are in that second category that you mentioned. They're over 50 years old. They're in some kind of career transition. They're thinking about retirement. A lot of people have tried retirement, and they're finding that being completely done working actually isn't what it's cut out to be. And so they'll call me, and we'll talk through different things that they can do part-time or on a semi-retired basis. Some people are in their 50s or 60s, and they need to keep working. They can't retire yet. And so we'll talk about the kinds of businesses that they can be an owner of so that they can employ others instead of being employed by their boss.
This is neat. Now, you also have a book that you want to give away. The book is called Your Career 2.0. Now, it's a book that basically is not something that you didn't write, but it's something that you use quite a bit. And what's it do for people when they read it?
Yeah, so Your Career 2.0, the Entrepreneur Source has been around for about 30 years, and there's a lot of us coaches around the country that help our clients doing this. And we wrote a book together called Your Career 2.0 that really just walks people through all of this. How do you evaluate your goals? How do you evaluate yourself and see, would I be a good fit for business ownership? What is going on in the new career economy? Why have I been in this cycle of being without work every 18 months for the past few years? What is it about the job market that's making that happen to people, and what can I do about it?
Well, I'll tell you something. A lot of people are in that situation. We're going to open up the lines for everyone to call in. Who can we give the book to? Anyone, or how do we want to do that? How many want to give away?
We can give a book away to the first 15 people that call in, for sure.
So what we're going to do is just open up the lines of the audience and let everyone, we've got 15 of them we're giving away, just get entered into it. And let me just tell you something, too. Believe me, if this is not you, I know you know someone in this position. There is for sure. That's the way it works, And so our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. And believe me, even if you are working, and you're not sure, you might read the book and find out, you know what, this is something I want to do. I want to do this. I want to be my own boss. I don't want to do what I'm doing. So it could be anyone that could really read it.
Absolutely.
So again, the book is called Your Career 2.0, and our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. So your approach, how does it differ than the competition that's out there?
Well, really, the competition for what I'm doing is the job market in a lot of ways. And everybody knows how to go and find a job. Everybody knows when they start to feel frustrated or...
Then why aren't everybody working if they know?
Well, that's that is a good question. A lot of people aren't working, and they know how to look for a job. So that's the competition to what I'm doing, is I'm showing them how to look into owning their own business.
Right.
Why isn't everybody working? That's a great question, because the job market's hard. It's a hard place to be looking for work right now.
And how about if you're a little bit older looking for a job out there all of a sudden?
Absolutely. And that's,
try it.
That's part of the problem. The process of finding a job is polishing up your resume, trying to fit yourself, Maybe you're a square peg and you're trying to fit yourself into a round hole. And you should find a square hole or a round hole. Find a hole that fits you.
Find something you can fit in.
And that's the problem with the job market is that you have to adapt to the job. You have to be there at 8 and stay until 5. But what if your kids need to be picked up from school earlier than that? Or what if you want to spend time with your grandkids? Or what if there's other things that you want to be doing? What if you'd rather work weekends or you'd rather work nights? When you're your own boss and you're defining all of that, then the job works around you instead of you adapting yourself to the job.
Here's what I love about what you do, okay? Anybody can do anything if they put their mind to it. They just have to think about something that they might love to do. That's what it's all about. And working with you help them find something that they might do for their own as a startup, which I think is awesome. I think more people should and are starting to work for themselves. But also, you might also help them in another way, which is through franchises, you said.
That's right. Well, so part of our education process, so I usually do a couple calls with people to prepare, and then we get into the meat of the process. And the meat of the process is actually looking into specific business models that I know will be an affordable business model that matches up with the skills and the goals and the criteria of my clients. So that preparation process at the beginning, I'm listening to their goals, I'm listening to their skills, we're talking about their career. I do a DISC profile assessment to understand what ideal environment would be for them. And then on the third call, I actually, after I've done some research, present specific business models to them. And so together, then we start looking at 3 or 4 business models that match all of those criteria. And we continue to meet every week on the phone to talk about those business models, make sure they line up with their criteria. Now,
your website is BIZ, startuphelp.com.
That's correct.
Their phone number is 602-800-5773. And we've got our lines open here for everyone to get the book, Your Career 2.0. And our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. I just want to ask this question so I'm clear on it for everybody else. When you are working with them, do most of your clients then end up in a affordable, let's say, franchise, or is it almost anything?
So there's 3 ways. If you want to be a business owner, there's 3 ways you can do it. You can start an independent business, come up with the brand yourself. You've got a great idea. I know I've got lists and lists of business ideas that I keep stocked away for someday.
So you help that person for that too?
We will figure out if that's the right way for them to start a business.
Good.
Or you can buy somebody else's independent business, right? So there's other people that have done the thing I just described, and they've started a business, and for some reason they want to get out of that business.
And so you help them with that too?
I can help them come to that point of clarity.
The 3 different areas. I love it.
Right?
Go ahead.
And then the third way is to own a franchise, right? So those first 2 scenarios are all about being your own boss and doing it all by yourself. And what happens is usually those people will do a business. They've already done it, in fact. But a lot of people it actually is the right fit for. They would make a great boss. They've been managers and leaders in their corporate jobs, and they just need some tracks to run on, some guardrails, a business model to follow. And so that's where a franchise comes in. It's a lot lower risk, and I'll help them find the right one that they can get the financing for. I'll help them find the financing to start the business so that they can get the business going without using cash, because nobody really pays cash for a business.
Well, their website is BIZ, startuphelp.com. Their phone number is 602-800-5773. And we've got our lines open here for everyone to get, and we're just going to give everyone entered into when we've got 15 of these books that we want to give away. And believe me, if it's not for you, if you don't think it's for you, give it to someone that you know, because believe me, we all know someone in this position. Your Career 2.0. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. You said that there's that you have a ton of lists of people that ideas of the businesses that for somebody to start up. Real quickly before we go to a break, can you want to give some of those ideas or at all, or what do you want to finish with until we go for a break?
Well, I think that's part of the misnomer, is that having a great idea is the thing. We're seeing this startup culture and people go, oh, I've got this great idea. Can I just start it? But that's not the hard part. The hard part isn't coming up with the idea. It's starting it. And that's why people need some help doing that.
And that's what he's there for. The website is bizstartuphelp.com. We're going to go to a break. Keep on calling in and get yourself one of the books. It's Your Career 2.0 at 602-277-5369.
If I traded it all, if I gave it.
So welcome back. And we're talking with Loren Kutsko, and he is the owner of the Entrepreneur Source. And before we went on a break, you were sort of talking a little bit about the finance part of what you do, and I want to know what you meant by that financing.
Yeah, so one of the interesting things about why people stay in the job market, you were asking me about that, is it's a pretty well-worn path. Everybody knows how to polish their resume and put it on Monster and go to interviews, but they don't know about how to start a business, and everybody assumes that they can't afford it. The other thing that's interesting is in the housing market, everybody knows that they can't pay cash for a house, but they all want to own a home, and most of them do. And so with business, it's no different. I help people. We go through their financial situation. We talk about cash, liquid assets. We talk about illiquid assets. We talk about their whole situation, their credit score, and then we find financing options to get a business started that will help them pay themselves through the startup phase and get the business going with putting as little cash down as possible. So that's all part of the coaching.
So it's you're a business coach for a startup, somebody who's starting up.
That's right.
And it's pretty clear on how that you have quite a bit of different avenues for that person.
Yeah, and so I actually have specific relationships with about 200 different business models. And as you mentioned, a lot of them are franchises, and some of them are licensed opportunities or distribution models. But what I do is after I understand my client, I can then recommend a couple. Usually we look at 3 at a time. We'll start with 3, then we'll learn some about that, and then we'll look at some more. But it's a very custom process based on who my client is and what kind of business they're looking for.
Now, we also have everybody getting entered into win. We've got 15 of these books that we want to give away. They're Your Career 2.0 is the name of the book, and our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. Also, I want you to sort of tell us a little bit of a story of maybe someone who has started up their own business with you.
Yeah, that's great.
Through you. I should say through you.
And I love doing that because I love my clients and I love what they're looking for, and it's so different every time. And I'll give you a couple examples. So one of my best clients is actually a financial planner. So a lot of people think, well, I want to invest my money in the stock market if I have it. But this guy is a financial planner, and his wife was working, and then they had their first baby. So she really wanted to continue working but also be a mom. And he was going to keep his job. So we started to look at businesses that he could do on a semi-absentee basis, keep his job, but have his wife, with her marketing background and her skills, stay engaged in the workforce, but also set her own schedule and raise the family. And so we ended up looking into a business that is a beauty salon, and he decided to open 3 of them because he could keep his job, she could work on it part-time, and they could build a business.
So that's an awesome story. That's a great little story. What are some of the others that you might want to give for something else that you might want to tell?
Yeah, and this other client, more unique situation. He had actually been overseas planting churches for 29 years in Brazil. Came back to Phoenix to kind of settle down. He's getting a little bit older, but needed an income source. And so I helped him, again, look at a few different business models that would help provide the kind of income so that he could do the thing that he really wanted to do, which is stay involved with the church planting over in Brazil. And so I showed him a few different models, and he ended up opening a tutoring business. Now, with him, it was a little bit different because he actually realized that while he was over in Brazil focused on very different things than building his credit, he ended up with bad credit. And so for the past 4 to 5 months, we've been walking through the credit repair process together. So one of the cool things about the process is it's great for investors that have a lot of wealth, and it's great for people that just want an alternative to the job market and maybe need to go through a credit repair process.
So they're going to really get a lot by talking to you. Do you do free consultations with everyone?
So the coolest part of my whole process is the whole thing is free. So my clients don't pay me. I am compensated by those 200 businesses that I was talking about. So when my clients open a business is when my fee gets paid. The coaching that I do is completely no cost, no obligation, and no risk for my clients.
Wow, that's awesome. So again, this is free. This is a free service, basically. And we've got our lines open here, and everyone is getting entered into win. The book is called Your Career 2.0, and our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. For anyone that didn't hear, can you tell them a little bit about how that book will help them?
Yeah, so the book in a lot of ways does what I do one-on-one with my clients, but it's through a book form. And so, I mean, people's buying process is a long process, and buying a business is the longest, right? This is not an easy thing. This is not. This is a scary process. And so, part of what I do is, the book is what you asked about, is that information. What's the process that we're going to go through? How do I think about this? What questions do I ask myself in order to know if I would be a good business owner? How do I make that decision? But we've designed this whole process to be that safe place. And it's not a decision-making process. It's a learning process. So my clients don't come to me and say, I want to buy a business this weekend. Will you show me a couple? My clients start, and we go through a 4 to 6 month process of exploring, first by understanding and clarifying what their goals are, and then looking into things that will accomplish those goals. So I want to make that clear.
And again, our number here is 602-277-5369. You can call in here and get the book, Your Career 2.0. And I think that's great because it's sort of like it's it comes up with some ideas of questions you want to ask yourself about what you do want to do going forward. And then by working with you, all of a sudden it would come together.
And that's right.
That's what I'm looking at.
That is the important thing. This is our lives, our life that we're stewarding. And so we want to think about what our goals are and who we are and begin with the end in mind.
And what's best about it is it's free. He's going to help you find something that could change your world, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And your family's world. And it doesn't cost anything to do that. So he gets paid by whoever it is that you end up with. Let me ask you a question. So there's a lot of business startups that are around, right? Why would someone want to own a franchise when they could create something new on their own?
Yeah, that's a great question. And my clients ask me that all the time. And it is to some degree about that coming up with that idea. What is it that you want to accomplish? What do you want your business to do? But really a lot of this, and I find this with talking to business owners that have started their own business a long time ago, and then they build the business to a place where they're maintaining it, and then they start to think about, well, now what do I do? And a lot of those business owners actually go into business, and it's what's called a lifestyle business. They start their next business to help them have the lifestyle that they want, not to have the business be their lifestyle. And all of the businesses that I work with and show to my clients are lifestyle businesses. They are not designed to be the thing in someone's life. They are designed to be the vehicle that helps my clients get to the thing, whether that's their kids or whatever.
You could check them out at bizstartuphelp.com. The phone number is 602-800-5773. It's free, so it's not like you need to have to worry about anything. And we also have our lines open here, and I'm going to let you call, for the next 10 minutes or so to get entered into win. We've got many of them that we're giving away. Your Career 2.0, and our number here is 602-277-5369. And toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Okay, with franchises, all fast foods and other high-risk businesses, aren't they kind of high risk?
Yeah. So one of the things with business ownership that makes
Did
people
I ask
concerned,
that right? I'm not sure, but anyway, go ahead.
one of the things with business ownership that makes people concerned, and they should be, is most businesses fail, right? Everybody's heard the statistics about the number of businesses that aren't in existence after 5 years, and that's definitely true. And one of the things that's most risky is that the high overhead, or the real estate costs, or that they go into the restaurant business, or that kind of thing. And a lot of people think with franchising that the only businesses that are available as franchises are fast food restaurants and those kinds of things. But the reality is most of my clients are looking at things that are similar to what they did in their career, or they decide they want to completely reinvent. But very few of them actually get into a high overhead, high risk business like a restaurant. They're doing things that they can work from home. They're doing a consulting business. They're doing a mobile business where they're going and servicing their clients where they are. So there's just a lot of options, and I always show options to my clients that match their criteria.
Also, there's another thing that people need to think about, too. There's a lot of people out there that are older, and they have this money that their kids might be inheriting. What a great opportunity for you to get connected with someone who, either if they have a little bit of money to help you with that startup or however that works, but you can, too. It's not just necessarily for the people that we've been talking about. Certainly, they are a big would be a big part of your business. But there's also students out there that are just graduating that really don't know what they're going to do. That would be a great thing, too.
Potentially. Yeah, especially, I've been in the situation before, and this happens fairly often, where I've got sort of the baby boomer parent that's retiring,
right,
and the millennial child that the baby boomer's looking at going, I'm not really sure if they're going to, when are they going to kind of get out there and do their own thing? And that partnership can work very well. It usually works a lot better if it's the parent that calls me and starts the conversation.
I'm sure. And that's who's listening, by the way.
Yeah. So,
But also, too, to think about somebody that might be in this shoes that maybe it is for you now, but it's something certainly when you buy a franchise like this or getting into owning a franchise, boy, that's something that you can hand down to all of your family.
That's right. A lot of my clients want to leave a legacy.
And real quickly, why not then should they just get a job and not worry about anything like that?
I think the statistics are there. 2/3 of people they're going to wake up tomorrow and not want to go to work. If you like your job, love it. Put everything into it. But if you don't like your job, don't deal with it another day. Look at other options.
You got to check them out. It is bizstartuphelp.com. Their phone number is 602-800-5773. Get the book. Give it to someone you know if it's not for you. Read it. Find out. Ask yourself these questions. Maybe this will help you change your whole life. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. And get your career 2.0.